Yes, the Manu Maharaj, the first legislator, the first lawmaker. Now let us try to understand what Manu Maharaj is saying and what are Dharma Shastras, what are Dharma Sutras. Dharma Shastras is where the Indian political thought starts. The actual origin of Indian political thought are shrouded in mystery. Why shrouded in mystery? Because we are still not clear, because there was so not such uniformity. It was not like there was one kind of political structure that existed in India since we have the written records. At times it was a monarchy, at times it was a republic. So, and what form? How did they connect the divine right theory? Like I hope you can recall this. I have already explained it, right? What is this divine right theory? So in West it was said that king is sent by God. So it actually skipped all the accountability because the king, my voice is clear to all of you. Okay, exactly. That the king is appointed by the God. So king would say, I will explain to the God because he's the one who has sent me here. Who are you to question me? Who are you to ask me anything? Whether I am a good king or a bad king, the one who has sent me will decide it. But in India, that is how the Indian political thought shows a lot more maturity. Why? Because in India also this theory was quoted. In ancient India also this theory was quoted. Divine right theory took a manifestation where king must be benevolent and perform his dharma. Okay. So see how Indian political thought is bit more deep and mature than their Western counterparts. But can you show descent to Plato's Aristotle king? You cannot. You cannot descend with the Plato's Aristotle king. You are supposed to follow because he has already achieved that level of omniscience by all that process. If you can recall that, at the age of 50 plus, he will become the philosopher king. He will be groomed accordingly. He will be molded accordingly. He will gain all the experience of the world, so on and so forth. So you cannot question him. Here you can very well question. Okay. Now see something. First known formulation where Vedas. Now this in should be replaced here because Vedas are not there in Mahabharata Ramayana many Vedas and in the wars of Ramayana and Mahabharata. So in Ramayana you come across Lord Ram as the ideal king. He's called Maryada Purushottam. Now in Mahabharata again you come across the interpretation of dharma, right? So this is where the Dharma Shastra comes from. Who is an ideal king? Still we talk about Ram Rajya. Even Gandhi has talked about Ram Rajya, although his Ram Rajya is not the theological Ram Rajya, but still the connotation is same. Now it is believed that where rulers work in concert with men of knowledge, the world turns holy and God dwells in it. So it is said that ruler is sent by God, but then ruler must consult men who have wisdom, the seers, the sages, the rishis, and then formulate the policy and the law. And if he is doing that, then world will turn holy and God will dwell. God will come to the earth to live in such environment because king has taken precious advice from people around and he has made this world a beautiful place. Right now, king is a bridge between this and divine world. See, king again. Who is the king? King is the representative of God here. King is representative of God. So he is what? He is a link. He is a bridge between this world and the divine world. He was a choice of God because he was sent by God. So you need to obey him. You need to show your reverence towards your king. How can you show irreverence towards someone who has been sent by God? That's why he's the link. He must, but he also is responsible. That's why I said that in Indian political thought, you will see the responsible and accountable king, even the one who has been sent by the God. He must fight the forces of disorder. Okay, so that dharma survives. Manu is the first legislator. Manusmriti lays down rules for righteous person, including righteous king. Okay, for all the righteous people, including the righteous king. Now, Manusmriti has become of late the favorite punching bag. I hope you are aware of it. What a regressive text, people call it. Are you aware of it or not? Not aware. Don't you read the newspapers that you are told for your preparation? Yes. All these people, the Nirud, what you mentioned, and even some more categories of people, day in and out will criticize it. In JNU, they burnt a copy of Manusmriti. Okay, in JNU in Delhi, they burnt a copy of Manusmriti, I guess some 2-3 years back. Now, Manusmriti, they allege, is against women and so-called lower caste. This is what they allege. Because they quote that Manusmriti says that if a Dalit, at that time there was no such nomenclature called Dalit, if a lower caste or a woman listens to Veda, then hot lead should be poured into their ears. And if they speak Vedas, if they speak mantras, if they chant mantras, then the same should be poured into their mouth. So if hot lead or hot gold is poured into your mouth or ears, you will die. Anyone will die, right? So this is, if this is what Manusmriti says, then indeed that makes it very, very regressive text. But the same Manusmriti has a slok, and I quote, Yatra narya pujante ramante tatra devta, which means where the woman is worshipped, there resides the devtas or the gods. Now, one thing worth contemplating is how can a text come up with two contradictory quotations? Either you worship women or you pour lead into their mouth because they have chanted Vedic mantras. So this shows that either this text was not written by one author or subsequent additions have happened, which means the original text stands contaminated. Milawat ho chuka hai. Okay, the subsequent text has been added to the original text. So how can you come across two contradictory versions from the same book? How can it possibly say Yatra Ranarya Pujante Ramante Tatra Devta and then ask people to punish women? Right? Did you understand this? All of you. The contradiction is there for all of us to observe. Did you understand this or not? I am just stating few facts to you. Okay. It cannot say that where women are worshipped, there the gods will reside, and then ask that women should be punished for chanting or listening to Vedas. Now you see, political thought cannot be separated from political experience. That's simply impossible. Okay, all the political thoughts are groomed into a certain political environment and experience. Therefore, it's important to understand the context of ideas and issues in their age if we wish to appreciate the thinkers. Right? Suppose, for example, Karl Marx. Now, we are critical of Marx. We have criticized each stage of his dialectics and the ideal communist stage, but try to empathize with him, because at that time, capitalism was in a very nascent stage and it was pretty expert. Religion is the opium of the people. Okay, so I have told you that all the thinkers are a prisoner of their times, and all their thoughts, all the political thoughts are a consequence of their political experiences. All thinkers are addressing audience of their time, especially the suffering one, the marginalized one. Okay, Dharma Shastra are basically deductive in nature. Deduced conclusions have been drawn. The Shastra in Sanskrit Hindu literature are the text of spiritual and legal duty. Shastra factually means rule, command, code of law or science. Shastra means a rule, a command, a uniformity, a pattern. Focus on different subjects, including the three principles goal for human beings. Now, this you need to understand. As per the Vedas, as per all the Vedic Samhitas, there are three principles or goals for human. The first one is dharma. You have to follow a law. Now, dharma has several manifestations that we shall see. Then artha. Arth means money. Arth means money. Now, what is artha? Moksha is not for everyone. Okay, moksha is not for everyone. For moksha, I'll come to it. But then for moksha, there are many prerequisites to be attained. Only then you can even aspire for moksha. Arth is your livelihood, your profit, your business, and then there is what is called kama. Dharma, artha, and kama. Passion, desire, worldly pleasures, karmic pleasures, all these things are kama. So there has to be a balance between dharma, artha, and kama. Right? Now, how to attain that? Shastra highlighted upon the social and religious conditions of ancient India, family life, gender and caste-based distinction, and principles of ancient jurisprudence. Okay, what were the principles? On what basis a certain Kautilya says that in the happiness of his subject would lie his happiness. He is addressing his king. So what was the assumption behind this? What were the principles? This is what the Dhamma Sutra tells us. Dhamma Shastras tell us. Many principles and practices of social and religious aspects of modern Hindu civilization are found in them. Still we practice it. Still the king is supposed to be a benevolent king. Right? Till. ऐसा नहीं कि अब हम that we say that king can be do atrocities. So still this benevolent, if not king then a ruler, because now we have democracies instead of monarchies, is very, very relevant everywhere in the world. Compassionate, the one who cares for its people. So what is Dharma Sutra? A sutra is a style of writing a treatise by utilizing the fewest possible words, like doha. like shlok. One shlok can have a one-page meaning. You read Bhagavad Gita, you will see that. Okay, two-line shloka and the interpretation, the explanation runs into 2 pages. So that is what sutras are. It ensures brevity. Brevity means brevity is the soul of wit, is what Shakespeare says. It has to be brief, and because it will be memorized, it needs to be digested. That's why it's easy to memorize them. Now Dharma Sutra along with Sutta Sutra, South Sutra and Griha Sutra comprise what is called Kalpa. Okay, now there are Vedang. I told you there is something called Vedang. In order to study Vedas, first you need to be aware of Vedang. So what is Vedang? Like you see, there are. I can write it somewhere. There are 6 Vedas. First is Shiksha, Kalpa. Then there is, this is second. This is third. Here you can write the fourth one. That is Nirukta. Then there is what we call Chand. Chhand. Chand. And the last one is astrology, Jyotish. This is what is called Vedang. Before studying Vedang, you need to study. Before studying the Ved Samhitas, you need to study the Vedang. If you want, you can note it down. This you can note down. What is Vedang? Like before doing your masters, you need to be a bachelor degree holder. So before reading, even picking a copy of Vedas, even trying to read that, you need to be very well versed in Vedang. Shiksha. Shiksha means phonetics. How you learn how to pronounce, how to read, how to speak. Kalpa. Kalpa is the rituals. Now these Sat Sutra and Grihat Sutra along with Dharma Sutra, they form what is called Kalpa. Kalpa is one of the 6 tenets of Vedanta. Yes, what? Chand, Chhand, Chand. 5th one is Chand Vishnu. I am briefly explaining it because not much relevance is found, but then Kalpa you need to know. And of course, in your ancient history, you have to study in GS, you have to study Vedic era. So Kalpa is the ritual, the rituals that you do. Sata Sutra, Kalpa Sutra, Griha Sutra. They will form one of the 6 Vedang because they are part of Kalpa. Vyakaran is the grammar. You cannot know Sanskrit. You do not know the language of any grammar of any language. You cannot read or write it. Then the Nirukta. Nirukta is the explanation. Okay, phonetics you have learned. You have done all the rituals. You have learned the Vyakaran. Then where's the explanation? Here's the direction. Nirukta. Expression. Chand is, you can call it kind of, how do you exactly define Chand? You can say the how much it measures the Vedic mantras. Like how many padas are there in a versa? How many pads are there in the versa? And how do they divide the verses? This is what Chand is. Jyotish you all know. Jyotish is astrology. Yes, pattern, kind of pattern. Yes, you can say that. Like in constitution, you have the schedules. Okay, so a 10th schedule would say how defection law is to be enforced in all the legislatures, the state assemblies, and the union parliament. Yes, pattern can be that. Jyotish, you all know. Jyotish is your astrology. You all know that. So again, Jyotish is based on crude mathematics. You need to be very well versed in mathematics and physics even to understand Jyotish, leave alone predicting it. So that's why what you have in Telugu Chand, what is that? Yamathara Rajabansa. What does that mean? Yamathara Rajabansa. Is that how you pronounce it? Yamathara Rajabansa. Matlab, what does that mean? Chandasu type. Rule of Chandas. Okay, how to frame poems. Okay, when we'll meet, I'll learn some Telugu from you guys. Okay, no, seriously, I so want to. Okay, so you segregate poems into categories through this. Now teach me Telugu when we meet. Okay, whenever I come there to Hyderabad, you have to teach me at least how few phrases that we use in our day-to-day affairs that you teach me. Okay, yes, basics. These details. Okay. Yes, I can book a cab. I can go wherever I want to. That I want to do on myself without speaking Hindi. That's your duty. Okay. Now you see. Let me erase this. So, Dharma Sutra, South Sutra, and Griha Sutra. They together form what is called Kalpa. Kalpa is one of the 6 Vedans. Without Vedang, you cannot study Vedas. Now, Kalpa. South Sutra deal with the great Vedic sacrifices of Havis. You know what is oblation? Oblation, you understand? It's written there. Anyone? A thing that is, given or offered to a deity, to the god. That is called oblation. Yes, giving. Yes. That's written there. That's called havis in Sanskrit, that you offer something to the deity to whom you are worshipping. Whatever fruits or flowers are there, or maybe some yag mein you put that yajno pavitra, the homes and sandals and ghee. That is also an oblation that you make. That's here on the slide. Can you see that, all of you? The deities, the Somras it was called. So it South Sutra deal with the Vedic sacrifices. What all you need to, like, it depends on the kind of yajna. If it's an Ashwamedh yajna, or it's someone doing a grihast kind of yajna, or a Vajpaya yajna, or a Rajsuya yajna. So there are different types of customs attached with different types of yajna. This sutra deals with domestic rituals. Okay, contain minute rules for performance of various ceremonies. Sanskar. Now, what is sanskar? I'll tell you, Manusmriti has mentioned almost 16 sanskar. Garbhadharan is the first one, where the child comes in the womb, the fetus comes in the womb. I'll discuss it later. Making every important epoch, the life-turning events of an individual life from conception to cremation. The conception, since the day fetus comes in the womb of the mother to the day he is finally cremated after he dies. Yes, marriage is also a sanskar. Shiksha is a sanskar. Marriage is a sanskar. Having child is a sanskar. Okay, so all the epoch. So marriage certainly will be an epoch. Now, Dharma Sutra deals with social usage and customs of everyday life. In them, we see the beginning of civil and criminal law. The important Dharma Sutra are Gautam Sutra, Vayudhyana Sutra, and Apastabamba Sutra. Now, of course, different people, different Vedic scholars, different type of religious teachers have compiled their own edition as per the prevailing conditions. And most of the rituals were same, but then there is some variation in all these sutras. Like Rishi Gautam would say something, Vayudhyana would say something, and Apastamba would say something else. So they all have said things which can vary as per their situation in the region where they live. Okay, though there is a uniformity, but then there are minor variations. This is what Dharma Sutra we see how, because they have asked, you see that there are 16 samskara, so you need to do this when you are born. So aren't we all following it today? There is a birth ceremony, there is a birthday, there is a death. This is where the civil and criminal law also emanate from. Why? Because they will also tell you how and why these events will be carried on. Now, when you attach legal sanctity to these things, legal kind of like a Hindu marriage act, right? There is a legal provision for that. A Hindu undivided family, the way they can indulge into doing business. So, of course, what sanskaras were, what sutras were, many of them have, evolved into modern forms of law. Not the exact forms, but the modern forms. Any question till here? Please let me know. Any question? No, not Griha Sutra has not 16 sanskar. I'm coming to where the 16 sanskar are. Anirudh, can you please reframe your question? I'm unable to understand it. If you don't, then what does that mean? If you don't other sutra, this will happen to you. Not following other sutra. No. See. In order to have a dharmic life, you need to follow Dharma Sutra, and everyone must abide by it. We'll see it. It's all coming. Okay. Let us not get into the genesis right now, because lot remains to be covered now. We'll soon see it today itself. Now see what they are saying. Dharma as per Dharma Shastra. What is Dharma? Shastra, including the Dharma Shastra, are categorized as Smritis. You know what is Smriti? A word indicates that is distinct from Vedas and Upanishad. What is heard? What is remembered is Smriti. Reminiscence. Memory is Smriti. Shruti is what you hear. Okay. So Vedas and Upanishads are Shruti based. They were heard, memorized, understood. Smriti is what all you can remember. Okay. At times, Shruti and Smriti can differ. Dharma comes from Sanskrit Dhi. There is this term you can write in. If I were to write this in Devanagari, I'll write it today itself. Dhi means to hold. Okay. Dhi means you are holding something. So dharma is like holding the dharma. You are beholding the dharma. Prithivim dharmam dhritam. Prithivim dharmam dhritam. What does that mean? When everyone follows dharma, then life is sustained on earth. Okay. When everyone follows dharma, because what is happening? Prithvi is like the earth. So it is beholding the dharma. So all the creatures, everyone living there must do that. This is from Rig Veda. Prithvim Dhritim Dharma is Dharmam Dhritam is from Rig Veda. So Rig Veda clearly says that when everyone follows dharma, then life is sustained on earth. And what if everyone not? Else there will be arajakta. If people deviate from their dharma, there will be anarchy or arajakta. Arajakta bring matasya nyaya, where big fish eats up small fish. This should be up, not UO. It should be UP. And prolonged matasya nyaya will lead to pralaya. Let us try to understand this. Now you see, who is holding the dharma? The beholder of dharma is Prithvim, right? All the dharma resides in this world itself. So it leads to destruction, not revolution. There is no concept of revolution here. Come on, we are not studying Karl Marx. Prithvim dharmam dhritam, which means everyone has to follow dharma. And when you don't follow dharma, then there will be arajakta. Arajakta is anarchy. No rule. Everyone will do whatever he or she will wish. And then matasya nyaya. What is matasya nyaya? Big fish eats up these small fish. This translates into might is right. Matasya nyaya is the ancient Indian version of might is right. Matasya is Sanskrit term for machli, fish. So what happens in river? What happens in sea? The big fish swallows the small fish. Is there a justice for the same? There is no justice. So might is right will prevail. And if matasya nyaya is prolonged, that would lead to pralaya. Pralaya would be catastrophic and pralaya. Did you understand? And here this was Dri. This is how you write it in Hindi. Understood all of you? Now, I don't know the etymology of arajakta, but yeah, arajakta means anarchy. Prithvim dharmam dhritam. I don't know what is arachakkam in Telugu. See, there is lot of similarity, whether you agree to it or not. But I can, if I knew your language, I could have proved it. But those who know the languages of South India, they are telling me that there is a lot of similarity between South Indian languages and Sanskrit. Telugu and Tamil, many words are of Sanskrit origin. Yes, lot. I'm glad you agree. It's not like there was some other form of literature that was happening, because the context has been the same. Okay, the context has more or less been the same, right? And it is done in such a scientific way. It's done in such a scientific way that you can feel the Britishers have done, and of course there are certain Indians also responsible for it. Let's not go into that. But there are so much of scientific element is there. How I'll explain you. There is nothing called Dravidian or Aryan. Okay, all these theories have been clinically debunked. There was no Aryan invasion on India. There was nothing called Dravidian. There is nothing Mool Nivasi. All of us are same. The DNA is same. Clinically proven. Okay, these theories were perpetuated by vested interest. That Aryans came and the Dasyus and all these are old and stale theories. And I hope that with the advent of NEP, these things will be taken care of in the new education policy, that not to perpetuate myth and cause more division between South Indians and North Indians and other forms. So what is it saying? And just to tell you each one of us have what is called MTI, the mother tongue influence, right? Everyone has the mother tongue influence. Like my Hindi would be slightly different from your Hindi. That would be again different from someone who is in UP and Bihar, someone who is in Haryana, someone who is in Chennai, someone who is in Gujarat, right? The Hindi would differ. But a Pandit in Vaishno Devi and a Pandit in Sabrimala would chant a mantra, and you won't be able to find out who is from Vaishno Devi and who is from Sabrimala, or who is from Kamakhya in Assam. Try this. Just see the videos. See if the Sabrimala Pujari has that Malayali accent. Okay, you see that they will see. That's why I'm saying that these Dharma Shastras are deep rooted into, there is so much of similarity here. Can we move this? You all have understood? Yes, of course. Even Marathi is very similar to Hindi. So again, there are many words which hardly the root is same. What they call Dravidian language, I don't see how is it different from Sanskrit, because the root is same. Now let us see further. Manusmriti. Let us try to understand exact context of Manusmriti now. 4 Purusharth. It talks about 4 Purusharth. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Here comes your Moksha also. 4 Ashram. Brahmacharya, Grihast, Vanprasth, Sannyas. Sanskar. 16 Sanskar. Now let us try to briefly understand these things. Like Dharma. Dharma is the ones that we saw in Dharma Sutra and Dharma Shastra. How to behold the dharma, how to be righteous, right? That is what it actually explains, righteousness. Artha, again, I can loosely translate this into livelihood, the way through which you earn your livelihood. Kama. Kama would be, yeah, desire, desire or passion or whatever. We have seen it already. Actually, this pen keeps troubling me. The connection becomes loose. That's why. Ha. Kama would be what we call the desire. Okay. And moksha, you all know, is salvation. This is the four purusharth. Purusharth is the duties that you have to perform. Okay. Duties worth performing is purusharth. Now, there are four ashrams. Brahmacharya, celibate. Celibate, you know, celibate life in Guru's ashram. It was till 25 years. Grihast, family man. You marry, you then kind of have a, you can say this, you can have your offsprings, you marry, you produce men or both, sir. No. Purusharth it is, not Purush. See, please understand. Purusharth is different from Purush. Purusharth is different from Purush. There, all of you. Purusharth is different from Purush. It's not Purush or man. Purusharth is the duty that you have to do. Duty that an individual is supposed to do. That is Purusharth. The moral obligations that he has to perform. Now, Grihast is family. When you become a Grihast, then you lead a family life, you marry, you have children, you nurture your kids, you provide education, you earn your livelihood. That is Grihast. This is from 26 to maybe 45 or 50 years. Now, Vanaprastha is gradual detachment from worldly affairs. Sannyas is, you all know, retirement. That now you go to the mountains, you do penas, you worship, you stay in the temple, you are not concerned with anyone now. Vanaprastha is preparation for that final stage, because you have been living as a grihast, you have been living as a worldly man for such a long time. The day you had sense, even when you were 10-year-old, you were living into a guru's ashram, you were practicing brahmacharya, you were a celibate. Celibate means the one who does not engages into sexual intercourse. So student until 25 years of age in the ashram of a guru was supposed to be a celibate. He can engage into sexual relations when he is a grihast, right? When you are a family man. Then Vanaprastha, you gradually detach yourself from the worldly affairs, even from your family. Sannyas is after 75 or 80 years, Margdarshak Mandal, right? Then you are retired, you live a retired life, and you have your own small type of ashram. You can go anywhere, and there you are supposed to penas, worship, meditate, do whatever you. Okay, these are the four ashrams that is mentioned there. Then there are certain sanskaras. Now, Garbhadharan to Antyeshti. Garbhadharan is when the fetus comes into the womb. The child is confirmed after, now even modern ultrasound techniques can confirm even after 2 weeks. I don't know what was the time era during Manusmriti time. When could they discover? I think they would have done that very early, because there are certain bodily changes that are palpable in a female when she's pregnant. Now the Antyeshti, when you die, then an Antyeshti is done. Okay, all that you understand that Kriyakram and all these things are done. So there are 16 such. So Garbhadharan, then there is that sacred thread, Janu, you all know about it. So Upnayan Sanskar it was called, when a child used to go for formal education. Then there was Janu. Then there was this the occasion when he left the ashram. Then when he marries. Then when he builds his own house. Then when he has a kid. So until this goes on until Antyeshti. No questions here. Very easy for all of us. Understood, all of you? Did you note this? You can note, else you will forget. Just like I have written. All of you noted? Raj Dharma. That's very important. State has to ensure that all varnas perform their dharma. King has the power of danda. If all varnas, do not perform their dharma, then king will use dand. Dand means punishment, not danda. Dand. King should try to achieve yoga shema. Lord Krishna says in Gita, yoga shema vahamyaham. Yoga shema is the welfare of the people as the ultimate goal of any ruler. Okay, so what is the purpose of king? Yoga shema. Everyone must be having welfare. Everyone must be living in the welfare state. Chapter 7 of Manusmriti deals with Raj Dharma. This was mentioned by Vajpayee. Do you know it? Raj Dharma. शासक को राज धर्म का पालन करना चाहिए. Anyone aware of that famous press conference? Never heard that Raj Dharma of Vajpayee? He was saying it to someone. Yes. Yes, it's Mr. Modi. It happened actually when the Gujarat riots happened. Mr. Modi was the chief minister and Vajpayee was prime minister. He went there and he was asked that what is your advice to the CM? Then he said Raj Dharma. And next line he says, बहुत ही सार्थक शब्द है. It's a very relevant term. King must not distinguish between, a ruler must not distinguish between his subjects. And then he says, and I know that Modi ji is doing that he is following the Raj Dharma. So there is a uproar, still there is an uproar that even Vajpayee ji asked you to follow Raj Dharma, but they skip the later part where he says that Modi is following Raj Dharma. So chapter 7 of this comes from Manusmriti. Now what is that? King should have knowledge of Vedas. He should respect the Brahmins because Brahmins are learned people. Praja should respect king. It's not like king will alone follow Raj Dharma. The Praja, the subject, the citizens, they should also respect the king because he is representative of God. He has been chosen by God and he's a king who is following his Raj Dharma. Right? What else? A king who does not perform his Dharma will go to hell. So a king who is not performing his dharma will certainly go to hell. King should be modest. He should consult Brahmins, not indulge much. He should not waste his time in hunting wine or women or being surrounded by yes men. He must be, modest, respectful towards Brahmin. Keep consulting from him so that he makes good policy for the state. Now, Dharma Shastra, though styled and systematized, were collection of existing customs and practices that provided the overall theoretical framework for everyone to practice their traditionally recognized ways of life. So they gave this uniformity, as we have already discussed. Dharma in Hinduism is a very extravagant concept. Different meanings it has multiple interpretations. Its primary aim is to guarantee the orderly development of creation and existence. Orderly development from creation to existence to sustenance of life by preserving their foundational structure, supporting mechanism, values, order and regularity. So how will a thing be created? It would exist and it would sustain when dharma rakshati rakshita. It is said that when dharma is upheld, when king will seek advice of learned sages, only then he will come up with such policies that will bring welfare and he will be able to attain Yoga Shema. We have already seen this term, Yoga Shema for the state. Correct. So Hinduism described as one of the self-appointed duties of God is to shield the world and beings by enforcing the dharma that is specific to each of them. The rules of dharma are worldwide in the sense that their primary source is God. Any question here? These are just the obvious things which I have explained. If any point you did not understand, please ask anything. Yes, this is pretty straightforward as I told you. Okay, the last point. Okay. Hinduism described as one of the self-appointed duties of God is to shield the world and being by enforcing the dharma. And God created the world. Every theist believes in this. Every ascetic believes in this. Every practicing Hindu would believe in that. Right? Now, God has appointed people. One of the self-appointed of God. Shield the world. He needs to protect what he has created. How? By enforcing the dharma. How to enforce dharma? Every varna has a certain duty to perform. And the king will make sure that you perform belonging to what is crucial for your dharma. If you don't, he will restore to danda. Okay. So worldwide, dharma is same because God is the source of it. Is it all right? God has created world, but God needs to protect the world. Aditya, how to protect the world? When he makes sure that everyone follows the dharma. That is why every varna that is supposed to follow a certain dharma is being told that these dharmas are given by God. In the absence of, if me and you do not obey that, then there will be, arajakta, matasya nyaya and pralay. Is this all right for all of you? Okay. That's why it was said that these are sent by gods. These are the God commands. And the king is the appointee of God. He will make sure that all of us follow it. If not, he will have his danda, the punishment. And if you don't do that, if dharma is not behold, then Prithvi will turn towards Arajakta, Matsya and Pralay. Dharma is everlasting. Its enforcement and observance are subject to variations according to the progression of time. Hence, they are subject to change. Okay, Dharma is everlasting. Its enforcement, the way it is being enforced and observed, this can be changed. Okay, according to the progression of time. Hence, they are subject to change. They are also applicable to beings who are bound to either duty or mortality, but not to those who are liberated forever. So Dharma Shastra applies to the non-liberated souls, mortality, who will die, who will be born again, who are into the karmic cycle, right? So these people, they are supposed to follow the Dharma Shastra. The liberated souls are beyond that, but there are few liberated souls. Majority are the mortal humans, the normal humans. In liberated state, the soul enjoys eternal power in the world of Brahman. Brahman is not Brahman. It's not Brahman. The Brahman. Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya Jagat Jivo Naparacha is what Adi Shankaracharya says. So Brahman is the ultimate reality. Aham Brahm Asmi. Heard about that? Shankaracharya would say, Aham Brahm Asmi. I am the manifestation of same Brahman. Tat Tvam Asi. You are the one. Okay. So these are the Mahavakyas of Adi Shankaracharya. So what he says that in the liberated state, when the person is liberated, when the soul is liberated, soul is mukt, soul is free, it enjoys eternal power in the world of Brahman. Then it is not bound by the mortal karmic cycle which normal mortals are bound with. Normal mortals, they are born, they do their karma. Based on their karma, when they die, they to take rebirth. And this goes on and on. Yes. Which terms, Sam? Which terms? You want me to explain that again, Sam? Yes, Brahman is the ultimate reality, the supreme. Brahman is God. What is written here is the Brahman, the world of Brahman. Brahman is the ultimate reality. And every human being has that element. That is why Shankaracharya says, Aham Brahmasmi, I am the Brahman. Tat Tvam Asi, you are the manifestation of same Brahman. Brahm Satya Jagat Mithya Jivo Naparacha. Brahma is Satya. Brahman is ultimate reality. Jagat Mithya, world is false. Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya, he would say. That Brahman is the ultimate reality, the Jagat, the world is Mithya, that is false. So, the liberated souls are with Brahman. They are not bound by the rules of Dharma Shastra or Dharma Sutra. It is for mortal human beings who take birth, perform their karma. When they die, as per their karmas, their rebirth happens. And this cycle goes on and on until salvation is attained. Is it all right? There are no limits or laws in the world of Brahman. All knowing awareness is there because only the liberated souls are there. Quite deep, right? All right. Any questions, anyone? Any questions, anyone? Now you are acquainted with the terms. No question on terms now. You will remember that or you will forget. Did you write the meanings? Manusmriti is a form of Dharma Shastra. There is not one book that can be called Dharma Shastra. Manusmriti is one. Even your Bhagavad Gita is one. Ramayana and Mahabharata would be one. The 18 Puranas, the 4 Ved Samhitas would be Dharma Shastra. But since we are studying political thought, we will not go much into the philosophical aspect. Yes, why are we starting with Manusmriti? We would have started from Mahabharata or maybe Ramayana, Mahabharata, Gita and then come to Vedas, right? But since we are studying the political thought and Manu is the first legislator as per the Hindu religion. So this is where Indian political thought, the first form of state, how the yes, Manusmriti is actually a subset. But when political thought comes, we have to quote Manusmriti. First legislator, first lawmaker, Manu Maharaj. Okay. Now, better all of you have pen or papers, pen and paper you have, all of you. Okay, anyone not having it, just 1 minute, bring it. 1 minute break. Please bring your pen and paper. Few things we need to write. Only few things, not much. Maybe hardly 1 page. Write Manusmriti. Manusmriti gives a very detailed view on the system of punishment, according to the varna, lower the varna, higher the punishment, that is why these accusations of biasness on Manusmriti. Manu has also discussed taxation. Manu has discussed the system of taxation and land revenue. The land revenue depends on the fertility of the land. Like if it's a fertile land, you can collect more. If it's non-fertile land, the revenue collected should be less because the production would vary, right? So very normal justification here. But he says that this you write, king should collect the tax. King should necessarily collect the tax. It is important for the king to collect tax. Why? Because he has to perform certain obligations and duties. King should necessarily collect the tax because he has duties and obligations to perform. Okay. Now, different people have different views on Manusmriti. Like the first Vice President of India, Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, was a great admirer of Manusmriti. Okay, we celebrate Teachers' Day on his birthday, 5th of September. And Dr. Ambedkar was highly critical of Manusmriti. He said that we should put dynamite on Manusmriti and burn it forever. Because, of course, the translations that he has read had such a grotesque kind of information that it enraged him like anything. So Ambedkar is very critical. Radhakrishnan is very, very fond of it. And I don't know when they met. See, where there were multiple Manus, now these things cannot be historically proven. Until now, it has not been historically proven whether Manu was a person or a post. Like history says that Ved Vyas is a post, it's not a person. So that's how it differs. Okay. Any question, people? I think pretty simple now. Now, when you read this, you will understand everything. Yes, tomorrow you can come with all your doubts, no issues. There is something more, but I will discuss it tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll finish Dharma Shastra and we'll move to Arth Shastra. Okay, so tomorrow wrap up. I'll take 10-15 more minutes, maybe 20 minutes to wrap it up, and then we'll move to Arth Shastra. Please read this so that whatever doubts you have, we can go through them. Okay, chalo, abhi I'm ending it here.